Live tonight, it's Piston Talking with our very special guest. His name is Dave, but it's not the same Dave you're thinking about. It's a completely different one. Unless you're actually thinking about this Dave, in which case you are correct. It is Dave from the YouTube channel, The Crab Car Hunter. Which actually is a bit of a descriptions error, because none of his cars are really crap. They're actually quite cool little motors. Well, maybe that just means he's not very good at finding crap cars. Who knows? Anyway, he's here tonight. Let's welcome Dave from Crap Car Hunter. Hello and welcome to another Pistons Talking, where today I have actually succeeded in turning on the little name tags, which I have literally ever since I started doing these not done. So, welcome to Dave from the Crap Car Hunter.
How do?
How's it going?
Very good, thank you.
And the first question I'm going to ask you is what you've got in your cup.
Cup of tea.
A cup of tea.
Yorkshire tea, the finest.
Proper tea.
Yeah, none of that kind of fancy green tea. No, proper tea.
Green tea's disgusting.
Yeah, used to have an ex-partner that was really into green teas and chai lattes, and no, I think I'd rather drink dishwater.
I've told this story a million times before, but I don't know whether you've heard it, so I'm going to put my storytelling glasses on. Hang on.
Oh,
here we go. So back in day when I were in a goth band, obviously, because as you can imagine, our drummer Leon, we used to go to a pub called 3 Tons just round corner from this bar that we always used to play in, and everybody would have Guinness, obviously, because you're in a goth band, you need to drink the blackest drink that you can buy, that's not Bovril, basically. But Leon used to he used to have his own cup behind the bar, and used to take his own green tea, and they just used to make him a green tea. That's how rock and roll our band was. Weirdos.
Old before their time.
Exactly. So let's have a quick look who we've got in the comments section. In fact, no, Simon, you've fucked it up already. The first thing that we're supposed to do is this.
Who are you? Who are you, our kid? Who are you?
There you go. So who are you?
I'm Dave.
Dave, are you Dave?
From Crap Car Hunter, if you're up from north near Sheffield. So just Crap Car Hunter.
Crap Car Hunter.
Hunter, yes.
No. I'm not going to say. I was going to say something, and then it had been swearing, so I'm not going to say it. So welcome, Dave. Let's have a look who's in the chat. And then obviously Alex is here already. I swear down. You know when you used to play online games like Halo and you used to have people camping out?
Yeah. Alex
just camps out in comments on YouTube. I swear she does. So hiya, Alex. Yeah. Simon Easton's here, and he says, well, I can show you what he says. He says, I am here.
But is he here?
But are any of us really here?
That's it. That's the question.
I mean, I am, obviously. I don't know where everybody is. Perhaps somebody will turn. Oh, Simon's already started on the riddles. The riddles of the evening. Raimi's here, and he's got one big pink hand.
A pink hand, not a red hand. Pink.
It's pink. I'm not sure what he's been doing to have one pink hand.
Slapping pink flamingos? I don't know. Maybe
it could have been. Maybe he's been squeezing flamingos. Yeah. Do you know flamingos are only pink because they eat shrimps?
Yeah, it's because to do with the shrimp and the algae that they drink. Yeah. Weirdos.
You already knew that, so that weren't mind blowing for anybody involved, were it? Oh, Alex says dinner thief, and there's a law that anytime anybody says something that's related to a video, I have to play that video. So
That's fair.
I shall see everybody in 31 seconds.
Dinner thief! Dinner thief! Dinner thief! He's up! Dinner thief!
Apparently, he's a dinner thief. That's Simon. Honestly. And then Simon pops in. Well, he might be popping, and he's drinking pop. He pops in with I'm drinking Tizer. What's your views on Tizer, Dave? I don't think we discussed this the other day.
I haven't drunk Tizer for many years. It's something I remember it being all right. It was essentially just E numbers in a can. It was drinkable.
Which everything was in them days.
Oh God, yeah. It's funny. I was chatting to someone earlier today, one of my work colleagues, in regards to Smarties and the blue ones, and how they used to be really make people hyperactive. And I fed a load to my nieces and nephews. I was like, yeah, have a few of those, and said, leaving to my sister and go, there you go. Not my problem now. Bye.
The blue ones were always the best ones, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Even as an adult, even when you're not a kid that craves sugar as a fuel, even when you're an adult, when really you shouldn't be eating sugar because you don't use it as a fuel. The older you get, it just seems to put fat on, and that's it.
Yes, definitely. Unless you've got like a very physical job where you can burn it off. But yeah, you
might be a prostitute.
That's it, or just being just an absolute Chad, possibly.
Being a Chad. And your profession is being a Chad. You should not be eating Smarties.
Yeah.
Alex has asked a question, but we've already covered it, so I'm just going to ignore her. Oh, hang on a second. Ugh. Alex says, do you like Tizer? Simon says, I like Tizer. Do you like Tizer? Alex says, no. Dick says, we like Tizer. Simon says, oh. Simon then asks, does Rami like Tizer? Alex says, what? This whole chat is just turning into a Tizer discussion on its own. So I'm going to ignore all them people, and I'm going to go to someone called Lord Scrotum of Bell End. It's the real name. And they say, hello, everybody. We Tony fans are always hopeful that the Piston will be talking to Tony today. So I'm wondering whether Lord Scrotum of Bell End has actually got two IDs and they've not realised they've signed in as the wrong one.
Possibly.
Maybe. But Tony's here, by the way, if anybody can't see him. There you go. If I spank this duck, you can see him. And there's a phrase you never thought you'd hear me say.
Or anyone say, if you just spank this duck.
You can see a coconut. I'm sure Tony will make an appearance at some point, says Simon. I've heard they're signing him up for Dancing on Ice.
Really? Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I've never watched Dancing on Ice. I don't really watch TV because I just find it boring, and the programs I used to watch have all disappeared. The interesting ones. So and it's just a case of But the question would be to ask if Tony does go on, who's he going to sleep with? Which of his dancing partners? Yeah,
that does seem to be a story that just circulates every series. It's like, oh, look, this fit dancer slept with this contestant. It's like,
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
that not just nature?
And, that's the only time, like, walk past, I was about to say a newsstand, but we're not in the 1980s anymore.
Yeah, it's not Seinfeld.
Oh, there's a newsstand there, the newspaper. But you see these headlines and they'll say, oh, such and such is, really romantically involved. And you're like, well, they're very intimate with each other, dancing, I'm guessing. So something's bound to happen at some point.
It is, isn't it? I mean, the only time it's a bit naughty is if one of them's in a relationship, but
yeah, but then it sells more stories and gets more views because scandalous, sex sells. So that's why I haven't kind of resulted myself in stripping down and wearing a Borat, that
mankini.
That's it. Yeah, I don't think no, not all the tea in China and millions of pounds. No one wants to see this in a mankini.
I did say I was going to do a Norman calendar, and I need to, but I kind of need to find 12 cars that people don't mind me laying on.
I've got one or two. Norman can lie on. Might have to just clean afterwards, but that'll be all right. It'll be a giggle.
I was going to do it for charity. I wasn't going to do it for my own gain.
Oh no, yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
not that anyway. So generally, the first question I ask people, and we're already sort of over 10 minutes into this. We've just talked about Tizer and Smarties and possible pornographic calendars for charity. What was your first car? What got you into cars?
So the first car I owned was, unsurprising to some people, was a Peugeot 205. I was just gone 16, so into 17, and my parents just happened to see it for a sale sign. Driven past the house loads of times, so it was a case of they come home from a Saturday of shopping, and I was at home because couldn't be bothered to go shopping out with them. That's too much effort. And my dad just said, "We found you a car. It's £130. You best go and get some money out, and we'll take you to go and get it." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So, and I didn't know what it was. It could have been anything, and turned up and saw this little. I even remember the reg. The reg was C31 CBC. So it later became the CBeebies car. That's what my family members called it. I referred it as a CBeebies car. So Mum and Dad took me to see this car. Like I said, I didn't have any idea what it was going to be. And I was like, oh, cool, a little 3-door. It was a 1986 or 7. It was a 4-speed. It was a 958cc.
Wow.
All the power. And of course, as a young lad, I passed my test in 2003 before I was 18 the next year. And of course, any young lad that would have a car like that, you'd want to do modifications. So ended up started off with 25mm lowering springs and lowering the back slightly, then 50mm lowering springs, alloys. My best thing that I think even to this day that I loved was I bought a cherry bomb exhaust, and it was meant for an old Astra, and it was on it was on clearance at this Motor Factors. It was like 15 quid. It'd been there for years. It was all dusty. So, and at this time, being a young lad, I didn't know how to weld and that. So took it to a local garage, and with the Peugeot, especially the 1 litre, you had the downpipe, no cat. The back box was it. There was no middle silencers or any fancy. So it was essentially a straight through. And the thing sounded so awesome, but it was very loud. It was hugely loud to the point where my grandparents used to live in Walsall. They could hear me going up the main road, and that was a mile away. It was.
But that says it all. Like a cherry bomb is pretty much designed just to be loud anyway, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it sounded awesome, don't get me wrong, but then it was a bit of a letdown because people would be expecting to see this really fast, body kitted car, and then they see this little Peugeot going 40, but sounding like it's doing 100, screaming past.
The early 2000s were full of cars like that, though.
Oh yeah,
when max power got to like its peak. So there was pretty much like half the cars that you'd see parked up were all standard basic models with lowered springs, big fat wheels, and no exhaust.
Yeah.
And tinted windows. That was the other thing, weren't it?
That was
How
it.
dark can you tint your windows before police will stop you?
That's it. And then the Lexus Star rear lights came out, so everyone jumped on them, and oh my god, yeah. So Peugeot was my first car that I had. I'd always been into cars. My dad was a farmer and my granddad was a railway engineer, so I've always been interested in mechanics and engineering. And the first thing that kind of really got me into cars was near my grandparents. There was a young lad over the way, and he had a Mark 1 Escort 1300. It was signal yellow, bubble arches, brace of cibbies on the front, very, very of the era of the 90s, wide arch, wide wheels, and it looked awesome. I remember saying, "What's that?" And it's all Mark 1 Escort, and wow, I've come, as I've got older, I've come to learn that they aren't that great, and
but it's the image, isn't it? It's like you're saying, it's the image when you first see them, because especially when they've got wide arches on them, they just look like the default rally car.
Oh god, yeah. And the fact that this young 20-odd-year-old lad was driving about in it, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So yeah, it that really kind of spurred me into the kind of classic car, modified car, and yeah. And I find that as the older I get, the older my cars get. I've had newish cars, and not for me anymore. No, like me old stuff.
It's an interesting point, actually, and one that's very, very relevant to me for this past couple of days. Now, yesterday I went to visit Paul from Project Nigel, and I was going to go in Gen Z the 200, but I thought I don't want Paul to have a drive in it while it's not right. I want his first impression to be, oh, this is a bit different, and not a bit crap on brake department. So I left Gen Z at home, and I took the ZS. So I spent yesterday driving to Rochdale and back in the ZS, and today we've been to Monsell Head, and I took the ZS again. Now, I was saying to Paul, and I don't know whether you'll agree with this, if you've had diesel car experience, but my experience with the L series is for city driving, they're horrible because they take so much effort to get going. They're heavy, and it's just changing gear all the time to get going. But once you're going, they're fantastic. So on motorways, it's a peach because you can just leave it in fifth, and 50 mile an hour is like the bottom of the power band, and 70 is like halfway up it. So you don't have to change gear. You can just black past people. And surprisingly, on country roads, they're ideal as well because they've got so much torque, they can just pull you around corners and up hills, and you don't have to change down all the time. So I think the L Series ZS, and possibly a ZR, but I've never driven one, is a perfect hack. It's the perfect hack. You might not think they're sporty, but they are really rapid off when you're not having to stop. That's my thoughts.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've never driven a vehicle with an L Series engine.
We will change that.
Yes, definitely. My parents, when they lived down in Devon before we moved up to Staffordshire, they bought a Rover. It was L Reg one. We used to call it L Sid because the last registration bit was L Sid.
Yeah,
and it was a 218, but it was an SDL something. Basically, it was the Peugeot engine.
All right, okay.
That was fitted to it from the factory, from what I can gather. But it was turbo diesel intercooled, and that thing, it was unassuming because it was dark blue with the grey. It had the wheel trims on, but that thing used to go like the clappers. I remember as a kid being sat in the front and whenever we'd go, on the motor or anything, Dad would. He wasn't much of a speed demon, but when he did, he was, he'd put his foot down and, oof, yeah, it was quite a surprise, and it shocked a lot of people, in cars that were a lot newer and you'd think were a lot faster, and there's this bloody 20-year-old diesel Rover just going past them like it's nothing. So
I can imagine that, because like diesels to me, they are the car that's the most fun, because you've got that pull, you've got that torque that drags you up places. Obviously, they've not got the same top end as a petrol car, but I'm trying to think. My favourite car has always been my Fabia VRS that I had, and obviously that were a turbo diesel. And I've had cars that have been more powerful, but there's just something about having even though it's only a tiny power band, it's just like that wall of torque that pushes you back and then doesn't do anything after that.
Well, yeah. As soon as you get to about 4,500 RPM, it just falls on its face, and you kind of feel the force forward if you don't change gear quick enough. And it's like my daily driver is a 2004 Volvo V70 D5.
Oh, that
big thing. And I've never had a Volvo before, and it's only the second diesel I've ever owned in my life out of the 40 odd cars that I've owned. And I can generally see why police officers love them, because the thing, you can get so much in the back of them, and they still go like the clappers, and mine's done 218,000 miles, and you by the power, you wouldn't realize it's done that many miles. It's
I think that's the other thing, isn't it? It's like diesels can run for a long time, as long as you obviously keep up on maintenance and stuff. But they're far more robust than a petrol engine would be. Yeah,
that's it. And like I've ragged many a petrol engine car and given them a bit of rooty tooty, as it were.
Rooty tooty.
Yeah, but I've always felt that afterwards, I thought, oh, that was a bit stupid. Like it should calm it down, because I might end up destroying something in the engine or lunching it. But in a diesel, like you say, well maintain it, and you could just drive the wheels off it. And I know for a fact that the engine will outlast the car. So
yes, that brings me on to another point. So having driven the ZS for the past 2 days and got used to the amount of drag it's got on it, and also it seems to corner like, well, I'm not going to say like it's on rails, because it's not a train and trains don't corner very well. That's why they're on rails. It corners really flat. Like you can throw it around roundabouts and it doesn't feel like it's rolling anywhere. So I jumped in the Civic today to do what's probably a 5-mile drive to my mum and dad's, and it feels sluggish. It feels heavy. It feels like really wallowy. But my God, is it better put together than that ZS? That ZS feels like a kid screwed it together with blooming plasticine screws and stuff. Like it's just so rattly and everything wobbles and there's knocks and bangs, and well, Speedo works when it wants to. It's working at the moment, but it still keeps sticking. But yeah, Civic, everything works and it's comfortable. You might as well not be in Civic, to be honest. You might as well just get in and go, can you take me somewhere, and let it drive you, because you don't feel like you're doing anything.
That's it. That's it. I feel that the Japanese can build an amazing car, technologically and mechanically, and they screw them together because they put a lot of effort into them, but they sometimes can feel a bit meh.
Yeah.
It's like the car I had before the Volvo, I had a 2002 Lexus IS 200.
Oh, yeah.
Never owned a car like that before. I've owned a Japanese car before, a Nissan Micra, but I never got it on the road because it was just rotten. So it was like, send that off and get it squeezed.
Squeezed.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what Ray's been doing with his one pink hand.
That's it. It's squeezing the pink Micras, the convertible pink Micras. But it don't get me wrong. I loved the car because the seats were very comfy. Everything worked on it. For saying it was a 20-year-old car, the heated seats, you'd flick, and within a couple of seconds, they were instantly warm. The engine sounded great. It wasn't the most powerful thing because, to be fair, it hadn't got the torque behind it. It sounded great, you know, great sounding. But the thing I found, it just looked boring. It was just meh. You know, I always say that, you know, you've got the right car, that when you park it up and you walk away from it, you turn around to look, even if it's just to, have I just, you know, just to check, see if you've locked it with the old immobilizer.
Yeah.
But you always find yourself looking at it as you walk away. And with the Lexus, I'd lock it and just walk off. I just never looked back. And I realized that I had to get rid of it because it just didn't excite me.
Just didn't flick your buttons.
Yeah, it didn't tickle me pickle.
Buttons, even not flick your buttons. I nearly said something weird. Yeah, Lotus drivers always do that, don't they? They'll get out, they'll lock it, they'll walk off, and then they'll look behind them. But the reason why they're looking behind them is to make sure it's not on fire.
Definitely. Like, oh.
Well, let's have a look at some more comments. So where did we get up to? Oh, we got up to Lord Scrotum, didn't we?
That was it, yeah.
Alex says, what a fantastic name, Mr. Bellend. And Simon says, have you ever been to Bellend, Alex? I'm not sure where that conversation's going. I'll try and skip the rest of those. Matt is here, and he says, hello.
Hello.
And that's all he said. But I'm going to take that he wants this video playing.
Well, hello there. Hello. 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 Well, good morning. Hello. Hello. Sorry, hello. I know you get upset if I don't say that. Well, hello there. Well, hello there. Hello. Hang on, I haven't said hello there yet. Well, hello there. 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 Hello. Good morning. Sorry, hello there. Hello.
Hello there.
Hello. That video cracks me up. You know what? With that video, the first time I've seen it is still as funny every time I see it. It just makes me chuckle. It really does.
Did you see the chicken nugget one the other night?
No, I didn't. No.
You are in for a surprise when I finally play that again. It's too
fantastic.
long for me to upload onto StreamYard there.
Oh, right.
Right. It's going to be very rare occasions that I remember to have it loaded up on another screen so I can show you. But we'll do that on a special day, like, I don't know, Christmas or something.
Oh, yeah.
Hang on. Becky's here. And she says, evening, folks. What have I missed? Don't know. Should we recap for her? I said hello. Dave said hello. Dave talked about his cars. I asked him about other cars. He told me about other cars. Then we watched that video. That were about it, really, weren't it? I've not missed anything.
Yeah.
I nearly said flicking a bean. Mark says, hi, everybody. And hi, Mark. Matt says, no shrimps on the barb. Again, I'm gonna adopt the Matt principle of I'm just going to show his comments on screen tonight rather than read them out. Now I've no idea why he's asking that question, and I feel I have to read it out. Unos, are you saying they're crap cars? Have you any idea what he's on about, Dave?
It might be to do with because Simone, bless her, gave me, or Steve, should I say, at Rustival a pack of playing cards, and it said crap cars. It's actually, they're still in the Peugeot, actually. I need to get them out, but she saw that, and they've got like different pictures on it. I suppose a bit like Uno and Snap and that, and there's like a picture of there's pictures of the cars, but like there's one that says Austin Allegro, and it's a picture of a skip. So, things like that. So, yeah.
Well, Alex's is even same colour as some skips, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah. Judge is here and she says, hello, like that. So maybe she's doing an impression of that guy. I can't remember his name. Was it Jim? Alex will be able to tell me. Hello. Yeah. Hello. Hello. Him. Simon says, hello, Dave. Oh, hang on a minute. These comments are from half an hour ago. If I carry on at this rate, right, let's speed through it because we've got a quiz to do when I remember how to put that on screen as well. I like Unas, says Dick Dastardly. I have Yorkshire tea where possible, says Simon. Worst tea is empty. I fell into that one, didn't I?
Yeah.
I drink green tea. I don't think Yorkshire do that. I don't know whether they do, actually. Do Yorkshire do a green tea? I would imagine not. Because if they specialise in black teas, don't they?
I wouldn't put it past them in this day and age. You need to, put your fingers in as many pies as you can.
You do. Enough said about that, the better. Warburtons do crumpets, don't they? Oh, well, can you imagine the wars between the crumpet factories? They were all at each other. Our crumpets are better. No, our crumpets are better. And then Warburtons just come in with all their money, like some sort of Super League football team, buying up all the best players. They just pour loads of money into their crumpet factory, and boom, Warburton's crumpets are everywhere. Decimated the crumpet monopolies.
Destroyed the industry.
Destroyed it. And then they start coming out with these bloody little thin crumpets that they don't call pikelets. They're not crumpets, fucking pikelets. Don't make me swear on telly again. Right, Matt's put a thing, so I'm not going to read it. I don't know what he's on about. Skip to the... Have you ever watched Space? Or Spaced, should I say?
Spaced, yes. Love Spaced, yes. Love
Skip
Spaced.
to the end. Simone's ill, so I think we should all take his hats off. Even if you're not wearing a hat, you should pretend you're wearing a hat. We hope you get better, Simone, because if you don't, well, there's no consequences for us, really. Otherwise, we'll just not see you at any shows and things. She's got a throat like razor blades.
Should stop swallowing them then.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a best solution, really, isn't it? Cover your mouth, Simone. Okay. Obviously, I would say a lot better, but I mean, again, I've skipped loads of comments, so there's no point in me reading those. Right, it's 33 minutes past. I'll remember roughly where I got to. I thought I just Pingo appeared, and he says, tractor.
Oh, I love a good tractor, I do. I love my
tractors.
I like my tractors, definitely.
There's a tractor down road. I think I told you about that little grey Fergie, and I thought it were a garden ornament. It's not a garden ornament.
It isn't?
No, because the other day it had a trailer attached to it.
Nice.
So it's getting used. So I'm even more tempted to go down road and talk to him about it.
Definitely. And you know what? Because he has a little grey Fergie, he total stranger, just go up to him and go, that's nice. Have you had it long? And that's all you need to say to him. And they will just open up and and you'll end up hearing their life story, which is fantastic.
I'll have to make sure my memory card's empty then before I go down.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Alex says to Matt, my friend has a diesel streetwise and he finds it too agricultural. Well, I mean, I don't know your thoughts, David, but I think she should unfriend this person. Yes,
definitely. But then if he thinks that a streetwise diesel is very agricultural, then I don't know what he'd think about like a Peugeot 405 diesel, because they are really, they are clatterboxes, but great, you know.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, my L series is very clattery. Yeah, it reminds me of old school taxis, which probably were that old Peugeot engine.
Yes.
Simon Easton says, I got a PSA diesel engine in my 2006 Focus, still going strong, plenty of going. What's PCA? I don't know that thing.
So PSA is basically the company that owns Citroen, Peugeot, and a few others, like a conglomerate.
Yeah,
that's the overall name. Yeah,
I guess they're the same ones that are in the Mini SD Coopers. Then
I believe so. Yes.
Very nice. Simone says her diesel needs a service. It's not that kind of chat, Simone. You have to find another channel for that sort of thing. Honestly. Straight to smart. It's normally Alex that's doing that, but it's Simone this time. A run's on, a run's on, a run's here, a run is there and here, and in all our hearts at the same time. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I drove an electric bus today, he says. First electric vehicle I've driven. So much nicer than the old leaky Dennis Dart. Controversial. We always have opinions on electric cars because that's something more that we'd be used to. I can't remember last time I went on a bus. But what do we think about electric buses, Dave?
They have their good points and their bad points. Obviously, they're from a perspective of them driving in highly built areas and cities, then yes, because they're not polluting and everything like that. But then there is the servicing and reliability of, they can, unfortunately, there's been a number of cases of them, bursting into flames.
No, it's not desirable, is it, really?
No, you don't really want to be on the top deck and suddenly think, I can smell burning, because very quickly you are going to be a shish kebab and burnt to a crisp. So
even on the coldest winter morning, when you sat on a bus going to work in the rain and snow, being on fire is still worse than that.
Yeah, I think I'd rather be walking in the snow than being on fire.
But I suppose it is a cool thing because I'd imagine the electric drivetrain's more suited to buses than it is cars because, again, they've got the torque all the way through the rev range, aren't they? So, especially in Sheffield with all the mad hills, I don't know what it's like near you.
Yeah, there's quite a few hills here, but there's no electric buses here. No, not in Burton-on-Trent. No, they still use diesel. Mostly down to cost, the cost of the unit itself, maintenance, because not only do you have to retrain the service technicians and mechanics to be able to work on them. I used to be a service technician, so I was a service technician for 6 years. When I first started, I didn't work on an electric car for about 2 years, and then suddenly they started coming in more and more. And there's not a lot we can do with them in regards to the motors because you have to be qualified. I was what was classed as a level 1. So I could say, for instance, on a hybrid, if we were doing an oil change on a hybrid car, we'd have to be able to unplug safely or disconnect the battery pack system because there'd been instances where people would put the car on a lift, drop the oil, and then all of a sudden the battery's gone, oh, let's start the engine because I'm a bit low. And, it's started the engine with no oil in, clatter, clatter, clatter. And then they've had to fork out for a new engine. So, and there's different levels. And of course, they cost money. So, yeah, it's not just the aspect of just buying the vehicle. It's the maintenance and the training, which can cost a lot of money.
More than what I first thought. More facets to that one. But Arun seems to like his electric bus, so maybe you can take it home with him.
I can understand it for a driver's point of view. Some of the buses are very agricultural and not very comfortable. I know they did improvements with the newer versions in London, but at the end of the day, an electric bus is going to be a lot quieter, a lot smoother. But there's always going to be upsides and downsides, and I think until the end of man there's always going to be arguments for it and against.
Would you have a bus? if somebody said you can have a bus and it doesn't matter, you don't have to park it on your road, by the way, because that'd be a nightmare. You had somewhere to put it. All you had to do was tinker with it and drive it round. Would you have one?
In a heartbeat.
Yeah, I think I would.
Definitely. To be fair, there is quite a few. I'll go through times, like I'll look on Facebook Marketplace a lot of the times, pretty much first thing in the morning when I'm having a cup of tea and throughout the day. And I'll just generally look at the cars or what's for sale. Then I'll look at like the price. I'll set like a, kind of a bit of a fantasy shop. And then I'll always look at lorries or HGVs, older ones. And then I always end up kind of slipping into looking at old buses and old coaches. And yeah, I'd have one in a heartbeat, definitely.
They're kind of cool, aren't they?
Oh yeah, especially some of the earlier stuff as well from the 50s and 60s. They just look awesome. Very Art Deco inside and just beautiful, really.
Like old trains, some of them.
Yeah, it was more of it wasn't just the case of the journey, it was the experience of making you comfortable and it's not a case of getting from A to B as quickly as possible. It was enjoying it as you went along. And that's what I like about it.
Very good. Very good. Well, we've been going for 40 minutes, so it's time for quiz. So there's an intro that I'll play you. And then I'll tell you a secret about the intro. And then we'll play the quiz.
Volkswagen quiz. Or Volkswagen.
Now, the secret to that intro is the first time I did it, Volkswagen fact or fiction. And then I did the quiz and then realized that none of the questions were fact or fiction. They were all just questions. So then that was the first thing that I had to redo tonight. And that's what made me late when I realized that I'd not actually done a proper intro either. So there we go. And we still managed to not be too late. So let me share this screen. What you'll see, Dave, with your eyes and your mind's eye as well, if you're imagining it, is a screen and it'll have a question. And you have to answer the question and then I'll show you the answer. And there's 10 questions. Not that's 8, Simon. That's 10. Right, so let's share this screen. Oh, anybody would think I'd never done this before. Yeah, I think it should be this one. There we go. So can you see that? Fantastic. So question 1. Who designed the VW Type 1, which, if you didn't know, is the Beetle is the Type 1? And then you obviously did already know that.
It was Porsche Ferdinand.
Are we sure? Do you want to phone a friend?
No, I'll go with that old Porsche guy. Can't remember his name.
You can't remember his name. Bang. Ferdinand Bush. He yes. And when I was doing this, I saw there was the first Porsche car, which was apparently based on the Beetle, was on there. Bloody hell, that thing looked ugly. Yeah. What the hell were he thinking? I assume it was just the mule car thing for testing out his actual theory, because it just looked awful. It looked like somebody had put a Beetle in the sea, and then the sea had kind of just eroded it even more round than it were to start with. And then they took it out and gone, hey, that'll do. Nobody needs to see what outside looks like when they're driving it anyway. Weird. Question 2. What year was the first Beetle made?
So I'm going to say, part of me wants to say 1938.
1938. I'm just checking if anybody in the comments is actually answering. Nobody is. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about the Volkswagen quiz. Simone says her favourite Porsche is the 912. I don't know what that is.
Okay, yeah.
Is that the one they did a rally version of?
I believe so, yeah. They did...
Gaz on a Track says 46. Pingu says 1936. What was your answer?
38.
38. Well done. That is 2 in a row you've got.
That'll be it now. I'll probably get everything else horribly wrong.
Question 3. How many different engine sizes has the Beetle had? Now, when I say the Beetle, I just mean the classic Beetle, not including the new Beetle.
The new Beetle. Well, they had the 1100, then they had a 1200, there was a 1300, I believe a 11, 12, 13, 1500, 1600. Yeah, I believe there was 5. But then they did do 1600s on single port and twin port. But I'm going to go 5. Probably wrong, but 5. Oh.
3 for 3. Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, oh, they've just like done one of every size. And then apart from 1400.
Yeah, it was weird that they go from like, you know, to a 1500, like, you know, yeah.
Weirders. Question 4, featuring Joseph, who I had to alter his nose on because the thing just chops his nose off. So I've had a bit further in. What car was the successor to the Beetle?
To the original Beetle.
It is obvious if you think about it.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to think. Because you had the original Beetle. Then, see, they tried to replace it with the, I want to say, no, actually, I'm going to say Golf, Mark 1 Golf. That was the replace. What
were you going to say?
Well, I was thinking about the 1402 or 1412, which was a bit of an ugly thing. They also did the Type 3, which was like they did the fastback, the notchback, and the station wagon, but they were kind of built in the same time period back in the 60s and 70s. So I'm going to go Mark 1 Golf.
Ding. 4 for 4. Right, what somebody made a funny comment and I can't work out what they're on about. Hang on. Only Golf if you drove it backwards. I don't get that. And then Udge put the rolling scone. What? What are we talking about here?
Have we missed something that they know? Or...
Dick says, is it me or does Joseph Lloyd look like a geography teacher? Oh, bless him. Because the engine... that's that. Yeah, sorry. I keep forgetting about that. Yes. That's the reason why. If you have to drive the Golf backwards because the engine would be at the right end.
At the right end.
Question 5. What year was the new Beetle available from?
The new Beetle, I want to say, because it's basically a Mark IV Golf underneath in a fancy frock. But I think it was
with a little flower pot thing, a bud vase.
That was it. That was extremely expensive from the dealership if you could get hold of one. And then the flower, you could actually get an official flower as well from
Could
Volkswagen.
You really?
Yes. I think the flowers at the time, I think they were like £38 or something like that. You know, this was. So I want to say, let's think about this, Dave. See, the Mark IV Golf came out in 98 because it was on an S plate. But I seem to believe it was either 99 because you know what? I'm going to go 99. It could possibly 99. Be 2000, but I'm going to go with 99.
So people in the chat have put, Pingu's put 98. Marcus put 99. Red balloons float by. Dick Dastardly's put 97. Gaz on a Trike put 97. I assume in looking at the age of Gaz on a Trike's cars, it means 1897. Black Lines has put 97. Simone, who interestingly or not interestingly, depending on whether you find it interesting, had a new Beetle.
Okay.
And she's put 98. Gaz on a Trike again has put 99. I thought they'd already said 97 before. You can't keep changing your mind, otherwise you might as well just type every year there's been. Stephen S. Paul helpfully puts awful things those new Beatles, but doesn't offer up a year. And Alex says 99. Again, I don't know whether Alex is sort of giving us a guess or whether she's just saying she wants an ice cream. And Udjudge has put the best answer so far, 1997.5. And the real answer is 97.
97. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
I can't remember what you said 99, didn't
99. You? Yeah, I said 99. Yeah.
Well, you've got 4 out of 5 so far. So that's quite good. That's quite good.
Like I say, that's it now. It's downhill for me.
So Emma Stone asks, when was the first Volkswagen Golf made?
I want to say
correctly, she'll sleep with you. If you answer incorrectly, she'll sleep with you.
Oh, fantastic. Winner, chicken dinner. I want to say,
Pingu put a fantastic answer.
What?
Pingu put a Tuesday.
Just on Tuesdays. Every Tuesday they'd just make a couple and that'll do. I want to say 1976.
Oh, 76, a good year for cars and people being born, apparently.
Because you had what was known as the first version was known as the rear lights were a lot smaller. They were known as swallowtails or shallow lights.
Okay.
And then later on they changed them to the much bigger lights on the Mark Ones. So part of me wants to say 76.
76. Well, I'll go through what people have guessed. So,
okay.
Steve at Black Lines has said 83.
Mm-hmm.
Gaz on a Triker says 1874. Marcus said 1975. Mm-hmm. Oh, hang on. Then Steve has changed his name. Changed his name? No, he's not changed his name. He's changed his guess to put 73/74. So he's gone back nearly a whole decade over his first guess. So he's very confident, obviously. Simone has put 1973. I mean, I don't know whether that's a guess or a question. Stephen S. Paul's put 74/75 was the first year they were imported to the US, which might be an interesting fact, Stephen, but that's not what we're asking on the question, is it? So all you're doing by putting that is just delaying the inevitable answer. Thanks. Jimmy Quinn says 1974. And Pingu's offered us a rabbit. I mean, I'm not fussed. Do you want a rabbit, Dave?
No, I'm all right, thanks.
Good. So the answer is 1974.
74. Okay, yeah. Fantastic.
I would have thought 76, but no. Where are the Volkswagen headquarters?
In the Germany, Wolfsburg, I believe.
Let's see what anybody else thinks on the chat. Although Julie's hooked on the rabbit thing now because she's put yes, please. Which is I was just going to say, which is even more weird because I'm not sure whether Julie understands the connotations of saying yes to a rabbit. But then she put a pet rabbit, not the other one.
Well, I know in the American markets, the Golf was known as the Rabbit. I don't know why.
No, I don't know either. I found out something the other day that, and it becomes obvious when you know it, the Golf is named after an Airstream.
All right.
Because it's Gulf, the Gulf Airstream, but in Germany it's Golf. But then if you think about it, Jetta, that's an Airstream.
Yeah.
Scirocco, that's another one. So they are named after wind.
Wind. Were they trying to tell us something?
Alex says, Ah, yes, because the Allegro was launched at. It was laughed at as the Golf was out with a hatchback and the Allegro didn't. But it's no good coming up with the logic now, is it, Alex? You should have guessed it before. Oh, Gaz. Where are the VW headquarters? On the top of their neck quarters.
Nice.
Mark says Wolfsburg. Simone says Wolfsburg. Wolfsburg, says Mark. VW Museum is superb. Jimmy Quinn says Wolfsburg, and I didn't even know Jimmy Quinn was here, but he says Wolfsburg. Bump, Wolfsburg. Yeah, is that the one where they've got the weird car stack thing? It's like a tower and they're all stacked in a weird way.
That's it. And it's all automated, where it goes in, picks a car up and just turns it around and drops it down or plops it in wherever it needs to be. Yeah.
Very nice.
I've actually got a few years ago, I bought on eBay a 1958 Volkswagen Beetle that was pretty dilapidated. And I managed to send off for a birth certificate from Volkswagen, and they used to have the site. I think it's all over now. They don't do it. But I had to send off the money. I had to translate the site from German to English. And I'd kind of forgot about it. And then I actually, unfortunately, my ex-partner at the time didn't approve of me having such a dilapidated car up front. So I sold it on to someone that ended up restoring it. But I still have the birth certificate, and it's down there near my fireplace. And I've even framed it, dead fancy. But it gives you all the options of where it was delivered to, like the engine, what things were fitted to it. And to me, it's my dream car. I didn't realize until after I sold it. It was originally black with a red leather interior, white wall tires and everything. And yeah, so I've kept that. So it was a little memento.
Maybe you can buy it back one day.
That's if I could. Well, yeah, I'd love to, but the lad that owns it, he's never going to sell it until he dies. And to be fair, he's a lot younger than me, so the chances of that happening is slim to none.
Maybe you should encourage him to take some journeys on electric buses.
Possibly, or tell him to, buy an electric car and then drive it near seawater.
Gaz says those ever so funny rabbit injection badges you could get made me nearly wet myself, and then maybe not. The ones I don't remember the rabbit injection ones. I remember the Rhino ones for the Jimneys.
Yes, the Suzuki SJ Jimneys. Yeah,
I remember those ones. Matt says, "Hang on, let me just read it before I read it out." Yeah, I'm not reading that out. Windy chaps, Volkswagen folk, full of bratwurst. Quite possibly pinging. I mean, if Rob was here, he'd be able to tell us if that's true. Beer night, I apologise, says Gaz. You don't need to apologise, Gaz. Matt needs to apologise. Mark says, yes, Simon, you can pick any new Volkswagen up from there. Oh, so you can have your Volkswagen sort of, well, I assume they have to deliver it there and then you have to pick it up.
I assume so, yeah. I know that Volvo have done a program for many years now, for decades now, where if you ordered a car, you can now get, and back then I think they didn't give you tickets, but now you get tickets to be able to fly over to the factory in Sweden, collect the car, have a tour around the factory itself, and then they give you, I think it's 30 days insurance to drive round wherever you want to, in the EU, and then drive it back home.
That'd be cool.
Oh God, yeah. My auntie and uncle, they were in the army, and they'd lived over in Germany and Japan and a few other places. And back in '93, they bought themselves a Volvo 240 GL. I think it was a GLE estate.
Ooh.
Brand spanking new, leather interior, manual. It was a gorgeous car, and they went to Sweden to pick it up from the Volvo factory. So yeah.
Can you imagine if Rover had done that? Here's some bus tickets so you can ferry yourself round Birmingham and look at it all. I don't know. What did Birmingham do other than Rover?
There was, wow, at that time, just Rover, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
You can take a trip to Bromsgrove. You can have a look at their animation studios. I'm sure there must have been a chocolate factory down there.
Yeah, and possibly take a tour of the factories that used to be there, like Jensen and all that, and just kind of go, oh, Jensen used to be built there. Nice. Anyway, but you could just imagine, like, if you went to, you know, the Rover headquarters where you pick up your brand new Rover or MG, and you've got some bloke going, right, here's your car. This is what it does. There's the keys. There's the door. Bugger off. You know,
Bugger off.
Bugger off. We've got your money. Go.
I can imagine somebody trying to unlock it and plectrum thing not working.
Yeah,
it's just for show. That, don't worry about using it.
That's it.
Getting in your boot. What do you want to get in your boots for? Honestly, there's no in there already. I suppose we should move on to the next question. Really, Question 8 coming up. Oh, hang on. Oh, well, we've made a mistake on that one. We've done that one. Right. What does Volkswagen mean?
No, what? I don't really know Volkswagen. That's something even though I've been a Volkswagen owner and had quite a few Beetles and Golfs, I've never looked into what Volkswagen actually means.
We shall
leave. Wait! Something's coming back to me. My tingly senses. Is it the? No, that was for the Beetle, because the Beetle was kind of claimed or labelled as the people's car, but I don't know if. But yeah, I'm not sure.
Ooh. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to taint or anything that people's thoughts process. Bad Bucks has put Matt, and I'm assuming that's not an answer to the question. Like, Volkswagen means Matt. I mean, I assume not. But then he's put people's car. Gaz has put people's car. Simone has put people's car. Pingo's put Pope's car. Udjudge has gone one step further and put Folks Wagon.
Folks, I like that. Volkswagen, yeah.
So it does mean people's car.
People's car. Thought so. Yeah. Oh wow. Okay.
I've not been keeping score, so I don't know how many you've got.
I think 6.
6.
I think I've got 2 wrong. Yeah.
How fast does the Mark 7 Golf R reach 62 miles per hour?
I don't really care about the Mark 7 Golf.
And the second part of the question would be, is it faster than Matt Streetwise?
Possibly. How fast does it go? The Mark 7, 0 to 62. I'm going to say at least sub 4 seconds, maybe 5, like 5.8 seconds. I don't know. To be fair, I lost interest after the Mark IV Golf. I just think afterwards they just became even more bland and boring, and especially the Golf R. Apologies to anyone that's got one, but I just think they are what I call chav rude boy cars that usually have a pop and bang map and black wheels, and I'm just not interested in them. I hate them.
See, I used to quite like black wheels, but to me, black wheels only work when you've got clean tyres that have got tyre gel on them.
Yes.
Otherwise, the wheel's darker than the tyre, and then that's just stupid.
Plus, also having the wheels either done to a high standard by yourself or getting a refurbished place to do them for you. Nothing's worse than some lad that's gone, oh, I've bought some paint from Alfred's, I'm just going to spray them, and they don't key them up or rough the surface up, and they look great from a distance maybe, and then after a couple of weeks they start to flake and they look horrible.
We've had a couple of guesses so far.
Oh, okay.
Judge guessed 2 ticks. Alex guessed 8 seconds. I mean, the Golf R. I assume that's like the super powerful 300 brake horsepower type thing.
Yeah, that's the one with the 2 litre. I think it's a 2 litre TSI something engine, 4-wheel drive. Well, I'll say 4-wheel drive. I'm not sure if they still use the old Helix or Helix system. They're a fairly quickish car. I'm going to say, like I say, I reckon 8 seconds is possibly a bit too slow. Definitely, I think within the realms of like 4 and 5 seconds. But we'll see what other people have said.
Yeah. Simone says hair past freckle. I don't get that. This fast and no faster, says Judge. Now, I think what Judge is referring to, my God, this is a weird, deep delve into Judge's psyche. There's a Columbo episode where he's after an Irish poet. And this Irish poet, in a few bars around California, has his own bottle of whiskey or scotch behind the bar. And he's got a ring on his finger that's got a diamond on it. So what he does, he goes into this bar, or whichever bar it is, and they'll bring him his bottle. And so he doesn't drink too much. He gets his ring and he turns it round so the diamond's on the inside. And he just makes like a scratch on the bottle. And every time he does that, he goes, this far and no farther. So he's just telling himself he's not going to drink any more than that. I think that's what Eldridge is referring to.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Bonkers.
Random Columbo facts. Love it.
Gaz says, I've tried 0 to 60 in mine, in my standard 10, but not got there yet. Days are too short.
I think for a standard 10, it's measured by calendar month.
Yeah, how many months? So the answer is 4.6. So you got that one right. We'll give you that one.
Oh, thank you.
So that's 7 out of 9 so far. So this, I think, it'll be the last question. The Mark 1 Golf was called what in USA and Canada?
A rabbit.
Rabbit. Let's see if anybody else can guess anything else. No doubt, Judge, you'll come up with some random name. Gaz says, too small. Pingu says, that looks like a gorilla.
I was about to say
gorilla. Well, let's have a look what the answer was. It was rabbit.
Yeah.
So that's 8 out of 10 questions. Well done.
Thank you.
Probably.
Great picture.
So what did you think to that quiz?
I really enjoyed that. It's been a long time since I've had a Volkswagen, good few years, and you kind of pick up a lot of knowledge through, talking to people and that, and it's nice that I've still some of it up there in the old grey matter. So yeah.
Well, good, because when I finally next year, crossing fingers, get my Beetle, I'll be tapping you for information.
Definitely. Like I say, I've replaced heater channels and floor pans. It seems quite daunting, but it's not.
Do you have to take the body off?
No, not really. If you want to do a full proper job, then ideally the best thing would be to take the body off the floor pan, but you also brace to make it the body as light as possible. Strip the glass out, take the doors off. Because no doubt if the heater channels are gone, then the bottom of the A-posts, they typically rot out as well. But before you take it off, you'll just weld a piece of steel across from the A-pillar to the B-pillar and then do a bit of cross-bracing and then lift it off, Can
you do it at home or do you need a lift?
No, you can do it at home. You can depends how strong you're feeling, but 4 adults with glass and doors could lift up a body. They are quite heavy, like I say, but the more you strip off them, but taking windows out is easy. It looks quite violent. Yeah, you just literally kind of hit it. It seems quite violent, but there is a technique to pop the windows out and to get them back in. Again, it's really easy.
Well, it sounds like you're the person for me to come to next year.
Fantastic. More than willing to help.
Probably around springtime.
Yeah, want to make sure that the weather starts to get nice, because it's never nice trying to weld a beetle up or do anything to it when it's absolutely bucking it down. So
yeah, what I'll do is I'll drive over to your house, park it up outside, just drop your keys and run off.
And I look inside, there's a note with all the bits that need doing. I'm like, rightio.
Yeah, like on that old dot matrix printer stuff, just reams and reams and reams of paper.
Yeah.
Oh, Judge has got a question. What made you start your channel, and do you feel inspired doing lives yourself after today? Very good question, Judge. It's almost like we've discussed this question beforehand, and you've put it in there, which we really haven't.
So I've been doing cars for a long time and messing about with them. And for a lot of times I've never been on great money in my jobs, and obviously bill paying. And if I wanted something that I liked, then I'd have to buy the kind of worst example and fix it myself to make it nice. What inspired me to get the channel going was actually my ex-partner. She genuinely said to me, she knew that I was very into cars and kind of cut me open. I'll probably bleed oil. And like a
transformer,
or like a BMW. Once it's a couple of years old, and it just leaks oil. Standard. So she was the inspiration. Said, "Look, give it a go," and mainly, do it for yourself. And if people like to watch, and that's a bonus. So that's what really kind of got me to start the channel and document it, because I know that, like I say, I was a service technician for 6 years, and modern cars now are very difficult to work on. Everything is censored, modules. It's just horrendous with the vehicles nowadays. So, just working on all cars makes me happy. And like I say, if people watch and think, oh, yeah, I'll give that a go, then that's great,
Yeah, it's like funny when you say that about modern cars, because it's like a generation thing, isn't it? Because my dad would say that, like, cars from 2000, they've got too many electronics on them. It's like, oh, it's all crazy. You've got an ECU and a BCU and these bits and bats all over the place. And then 20 years later, we're going, oh, modern cars these days, they've got too much bits and pieces all over them. Just imagine what they're going to be like in another 20 years. There's just going to be replaced car.
Yeah, just throw away. But that's where we're kind of at society now. Once a car gets to a certain age, if you're not mechanically minded, then the cost of getting it repaired outweighs the cost of what the vehicle owes you. Yeah, so that's why a lot of them just get binned.
Yeah, it's like hybrids. Like, I'd love to get one of those Honda. Is it CRZ? They're like coupe ones.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it's the thing that irks me about it is it's a hybrid, but the advantage, the like extra power you're getting from the hybrid bits, like 15 brake horsepower or something. So it's not even worth having it on there. But if you get one and battery goes, you can't drive it, even though you're not going to be using the hybrid part. That's just weird. Just weird.
And very expensive.
Yes. Simone points out the good thing about the Beetle is most panels are available.
Yes.
And then Alex says, bad thing is you just can't buy new radiators for them.
But that's a good thing, because it's one less thing to, if you forget to change your coolant, or if, like I've seen in quite a lot of, like I say, as a tech, you go to do a flush on the radiator system, and it's not coolant colour; it's rust colour.
It sounds like one of my cars. Have you worked on my cars before?
Possibly, you never know.
Pingu's got a question. Do you want to see it?
I'll go on then.
Do you really, really, really want to see it?
Oh yeah.
What conditioner do you?
Right. I don't use any conditioner, surprisingly enough. I use just Head and Shoulders. That's it. It doesn't even. I know it's a 2-in-1 or whatever. I'll just use even body wash on my hair. There's a body wash, a typical bloke thing. I've got 2 things: one to wash my hair, my beard, and then the body wash. But the body wash will do hair as well. So
those it's sauce. Them that do like that mint one and that lemon one, they do like hair and body ones as well, don't they?
Yeah, that's it.
That mint one. Oh my god, that cools your knackers down when you're not expecting it. Bloody hell!
Oh.
Alex says there's no engine jams from Beetles. That's true. That is true. You couldn't possibly get engine jam from a Beetle.
You could get some kind of jam out of a Beetle. I had this issue with mine. The float. So the float in the carburetor stuck, and the car had been running fine. I parked it up, left it, came in the house the next day, went to start it, and it just went. Tunk. I thought, oh. That doesn't sound right. Maybe the starter's gone. So crawled underneath, whacked the starter, tried it again. Tunk. Oh, and then I went back to it and I could smell fuel. I thought, oh, this doesn't smell right. So I pulled out the dipstick, not myself, pulled out the dipstick and sure enough, there was oil, and then I could see this other liquid, and it was petrol. And where the float had sunk, it had just poured all the petrol from the fuel tank into the engine. And hydrolocked it.
Brilliant.
Mixed.
So it just went into the cylinder tops and then leaked past the oil rings into the sump.
Yeah, right into the sump because it's a flat 4. So I ended up having to drop because you don't have a filter as such. It's like a gauze, it's like a round plate at the bottom. Drop that. I had to take off the rocker covers because obviously the petrol had got to the cork. Yeah. Gaskets, and then I just literally just drained it out, turned it over without spark, obviously, because essentially what I'd created is a very large bomb, and I don't think my neighbours would appreciate having half the house missing if it went up, and plus I'd be out of a Beetle. Bomb. I know, probably great for old Heil Hitler, great, but it. Yeah, so I did that, chucked the oil in, took the carb off, sorted it out, and there was a tiny little pinhole. So I fixed it with a bit of epoxy resin, built it all back up, threw it back on, started like a champ. Sweet. And it was fine then. Yeah.
It sounds like because I've had 2 camper vans before. And my first one was a pain in the arse because it had an automatic choke on it. So it was fine when you first started it. But then somewhere between being cold and warm enough, there was just this grey area where it were like, nah, I'm not going to run. So I'd have to coast up to traffic lights, knock it into neutral, and then keep revving while I were braking with my left foot, which is really weird. Really weird. Yeah. That one caught fire on the way back from a gig one day.
Oh.
I mean, it didn't all burn. Basically, we're taking all gear back. We nipped into this like chip shop or something, and then when I came out, I thought, why it's underneath glowing orange at back? I opened the bonnet boot thing up, and one of the air pipes had got fire on it.
Oh bloody hell!
I just had to take that out and stamp on it, and then run away.
Carry on home. I just need to go and grab my charger for a second because my battery's a bit low on the old phone, so I'll be back in a second.
No problem, I'll read comments. Well, it's going well so far, isn't it? I'm glad there's lots of people here. 21. Now, Simone's not said it yet, and she's normally the first one to say it, so don't forget to click that like button. But while he's going to get his charger, let's play an advert. Which one should we play? This one.
Do you remember when you had friends? When people would call you on the telephone? When you'd be invited out to the pub or even to the cinema? Well, not anymore. You're a rover person now. Relax. On your own. It's a rover.
From people dropping a bomb to people putting up walls, I feel like life is on hold, perception stuck in a vault. I know that time can heal all, but how much time till we fall?
Yay! So, I think Alex has hit upon a fantastic name here. So when your float gets stuck open and it ruins your engine nearly, that's Beetle Treacle.
Beetle Treacle, yes, I like that.
Or Beetle Chips. Oh dear. Matt said something about a streetwise beach buggy. I don't know what he's on about there.
Yeah, I've spoke to him a couple of times with concepts of doing like a beach buggy, a pickup, maybe an estate version of streetwisers, and yeah, that'd be an interesting couple of projects, you know.
Would you need another part of a car to weld onto a streetwise?
Possibly. It might involve the sacrifice of either a streetwise or a 200 or 25.
Oh,
I know. But you know, I wouldn't source out a decent one to do that. You'd source one that was about to either be stripped and just a bare shell or something like that. It was due to be scrapped and off to the knacker's yard, as it were.
I mean, maybe there's a YouTube channel that's got some scrap rovers.
Who
could use. Who knows in this rover community? Could be anybody. Moki's Mini. That sounds like some sort of religious speaking in tongues phrase. Moki's Mini. Okay, Alex. And then Gaz recites back. Maybe what it is here, we've got Alex is like the priest person that makes a statement. Moki's Mini. And then Gaz recites back, it is. And then Alex can say something else like, God is crumpets. And Gaz would say, it is. Or maybe not, I don't know. Dave, what is your favourite Peugeot of all time?
Ooh, that is quite tricky because I am very fond of the 205. It is a great little car, and they came in, you know, don't have to have a GTI or a CTI. They did a CJ, a smaller engine. You could get a diesel turbo. But my favourite that I would love to own is a Peugeot 505 GTI.
Is that the bigger ones, 505?
Yeah. So that was the earlier versions from back in the 80s. It was rear-wheel drive, gorgeous car. And if that wasn't an option, it would be a Peugeot 405, either an MI16 or a Le Mans edition.
Oh, what's the Le Mans edition?
So the Le Mans edition was a special run, I think, of about 300 or 400 cars built by Peugeot to celebrate them winning the 24 Hours of Le Mans in, I believe it was 93.
Okay.
They were all the same color, so essentially Diablo red, same 2-litre 16-valve MI16 engine. They were a little bit quicker and a lot more luxury, but yeah, and they were all numbered as well.
Oh, very special.
Very rare. I think there's probably less than 80 left in the UK, and I believe they were mostly a UK car.
Ah, very nice. It's unusual that happens. It's normally other countries that get all the special edition ones, and we get like 3 or 4
The dregs.
The dregs. The one I'd have now, it's the 406 Coupe.
Ooh, very nice.
Because they are nice looking cars. But I'm stuck on what engine, because they did a V6 one, didn't they? And a diesel one. And I feel I'd need to have the diesel one going on my pro diesel rant earlier. But secretly, I'd want the V6 one. But I just wouldn't want the fuel bill for it.
Oh, God, yeah. And then you can tell people that it's a Nissan Silvia S15, and car people would be none the wiser, or non-car people.
Dave says, Judge, if you could travel in time, I mean, everybody travels in time, because we're traveling in time right now, Judge. Would you do it? And I assume you travel in time. And which decade would you want to live in?
Well, first off, yes. Who wouldn't want to time travel? I watched Back to the Future too many times. It's funny. My nan, bless her, she knew that what vehicles. I'm quite heavily into American cars, even though I don't say much on the channel about it. I am a huge muscle car and just American car fanatic. And she always used to say to me, I was born in the wrong era and the wrong continent. She reckons I should have been born in the 60s and then in America.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be if it was just, unfortunately, if the time travel was restricted to just the UK, which would be annoying, wouldn't it?
It would be typical, though, since we're not in the EU anymore. So,
like, here's a time machine. You can travel back to any period of time. Brilliant. Where can I travel? Oh, just the UK. Oh, is that it? Nah, leave it. So, yeah, it would be for me probably 50s, 60s.
In America.
Definitely. In America, yeah.
I don't know where I'd travel to. I don't know. I suppose my question would be, would I travel to the future instead? I mean, because the thing we're going to the future, you're going to see stuff that you never dreamed would be possible. But what if it's crap? I never dreamed it'd be possible to just stay in the same room for my whole entire life, yet visit all these other places virtually. Why, coming from somewhere where you have to go physically to places, wouldn't the virtual thing seem shit?
Yeah, definitely. I always
Jamiroquai everywhere you went. Can you imagine?
I always imagine the future as if there's a film called The Demolition Man, which features Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes. It might seem a bit cheesy at points, but if you kind of look at the whole dynamic of the film, of how they predicted how the future was going to be, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me that if that was in 100 years' time, that whole kind of, be calm and no touching and all that. Yeah. And yeah, but hopefully if that ever comes, I will be long and gone.
At least then we'd know what the 3 seashells trick was.
Oh God, yes, definitely. And I'd still want to use toilet paper.
Yes. That's the film that has murder, death, kill, murder,
that was
death,
it.
Kill. Yeah.
That was it. Oh, and Sandra Bullock. Yes, Sandra Bullock's in it as well.
That is true. That's always an advantage. What was the film that she was in where she played an astronaut? Can you remember?
No. You know what? The only Sandra Bullock films I know is Speed 2, which was awful. Sorry if anyone likes it, but frankly, it is just awful. What else was there? Miss Congeniality.
She's amazing. It is an amazing film, that.
It is.
It's got Michael Caine in it, playing the guy that tells her how to act and stuff. It's brilliant.
How to be a woman, And, I know there's lots of other films, but yeah, they're like the 3 that stick in my mind that I know her from. So I don't know anything that she's done in space, I'm afraid.
Well, Simone has told me the answer.
Okay.
It's Gravity. Now, my review of Gravity, and this will either make you want to watch it or not be bothered to watch it. So I think the film's about 2 hours long.
Okay.
So the film is pretty much a 2-hour prelude up to the greatest scene of Sandra Bullock's arse you will ever see. That is pretty much what it's like.
Really? And is it her actual arse? It's not a stunt double arse, is
I have
it?
no idea. In my mind, it's Sandra Bullock's arse.
Okay. See, in my mind, I'd be like, that's probably a stunt double. And if it is, I'd be like, meh.
Na, 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 na. Have you seen Suicide Squad?
Yes, actually, yeah.
I pretty much just cut and paste Margot Robbie's buttocks into every start and end of every scene, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that was it. I think that's the only reason why most people watched it was of Margot Robbie in them tight pants, and yeah. Never
mind. Could be worse.
It could be. It could have been Will Smith's ass.
It could have been, and that would have been perfectly fine in 2024. Because obviously we embrace diversity, and if you want to look at a man's buttocks, that's perfectly fine. All right.
Yeah, whatever floats your boat.
Stephen S. Paul asks a question, and it's not really a question to you. I think it's more of a rhetorical question. Why do cars rot out so badly in the UK, especially when they're left sitting? And I'm not talking parked on grass either. But it's damp, isn't it?
It's damp. Does he live in England? If he doesn't, bless him. Well done.
He's an American desert guy.
Oh, American. Okay. Trying to think. Yeah, it's always damp. We put on a lot of salt on the roads, even when it's mildly cold. They will slather the roads in salt. Plus, vehicles nowadays, and have been done for a while, even back in the old stuff, the metal isn't great. The rust protection isn't great. You know, just have to look at any 20-year-old Japanese car. Just have a look underneath it. Pull that body kit off. That, you know, that nice shiny plastic arch. You know, just pull it off and just see the horrors behind it, and they would be horrors.
Yeah, don't do that to my ZS. Whatever you do, I don't want to know. I already know that sills need doing. I don't want to know anything. They used to do an Austin 1300 buggy type thing with an MG grill, says Gaz on a trike.
Ooh.
I don't remember that.
No, I think that'd be a bit before my time.
Retro Matt is here. We'll have to celebrate with this. Hang on. There you go. That was quite a pathetic one, weren't it? Retro Matt is in. He says, new subscriber here. Did I miss much? Well, you joined an hour and 20 minutes after I started doing this, so yeah, you have missed a fair bit. But don't worry, Retro Matt. You can watch it back on YouTube, and you'll know what's happened at the end before you've watched the beginning. But it's not like Memento. It won't ruin anything. You'll be fine. No. Alex says, hello, Retro Matt. You've missed a quiz. Don't forget to give the like button, GBH. Great big hugs, I think, is what that means. 630 subs, Simon.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Should we verify it, though? Because last time Alex said that, it weren't the same. What she said.
She's just joshing you.
She's just making stuff up. 630. No, she's right. 630. You can't see it, but there you go.
No.
Kip said, what the hell was that? Was that an anti-suicide ad? I've no idea. You shouldn't be putting ads on through my lives. That's naughty. Oh, and Alex says, yes, one of Simon's. Oh. He's on about my advert. Okay.
Welcome to the madness.
Yeah, I completely forget that I do stuff like that. The Vicar of Longbridge made a Rover 45 estate. The Vicar of Longbridge.
See, I believe that's something that they missed out hugely, because obviously you had the old R8, which was available in a convertible, a 2-door, a 4-door hatchback, a 4-door saloon, and even a Tourer. But then when it came out with the 400 newer shape, and then later the 45, it was just offered as a hatchback or a saloon, and that was it. I just feel that they kind of hugely missed out.
I see it a different way.
Okay.
Just to play the devil's advocate, I see it as the R8 was such a shit heap that they had to try everything they possibly could. I mean, they're not really, but I just like hating on the R8s.
Yeah.
But yeah, they should have definitely done a 45 Tourer.
Yeah, I think that would have been something that would have. I know that you have, the 75, which is the Tourer, but some people don't want a big estate car. You want an estate car, but something a little bit kind of smaller. So yeah.
Like for example, going back to the Volkswagen thing, Passat estate, I'm not bothered about that.
Yeah.
Golf estate, oh yeah, sign me up for that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. Come on, it's the Germans. And they know a thing or two about, marketing and cars and everything. So,
and propaganda.
Oh yes. So why not copy and paste what they do in cars? That is.
Yes.
Not propaganda.
No. Honda Aerodeck ZS, exactly, Pingu.
Yes.
Imagine how cool that would have been.
Oh.
Gaz on a Trike says, just one more thing. A Columba Type 403.
Oh, yes. So Columbo actually drove in the series. It was a Peugeot Cabriolet 403. Turns out, even at the time, it was a very rare car. And even now, it's even rarer. The story behind that car is that whilst they were looking for a car to fit the character of Columbo, I believe that he went to the back lot, saw the car, and was like, "That's perfect. I'll have that one."
What an impression! Brilliant.
Sorry, I couldn't do the eye kind of thing, but I've got both eyes, I'm afraid. So.
Oh dear!
But when they found it had no engine, no transmission, so they had to kind of lob stuff in to get it running. And that was the story behind that. And yeah, great looking car.
If you're one of them saddos that's got the Columbo box set, which has got, I think it's about 15. No, actually, it's going to have about 30 DVDs in it at least.
Wow.
And you've watched them multiple times, like me and Julie have. You'll notice as well from season to season, the car changes.
Yeah.
Like there's one season where it's like a really dark blue color rather than that funny green color. And then there's one season where you can tell it's a nice car that's just had crap sprayed on the side of it because it doesn't look like any rot ever.
Yeah. Just make it look a bit crappy. That'll do.
Yeah.
Hollywood effects.
Did you know there was a season of Mrs. Columbo?
No, I didn't. I know he mentioned like occasionally in Columbo about the wife, but I never realised there was a Mrs. Columbo.
It's terrible. It's one of the bonus things on one of the seasons.
Yeah.
And it's kind of right. For a start, the actress that plays Mrs. Columbo must have been like 30 years younger than him.
Oh.
That's already a bit weird.
Yeah.
And they tried to make it like Columbo, but funny, and no, it just didn't work. Do you know who he was married to?
No.
There was some episodes where there's a woman with really long blonde hair. She's the wife of the Texan cowboy that does someone out of some money in some investments in one episode. She's like an art dealer in another episode. Anyway, it's her. And she's like literally like 20 or 30 years younger as well. But yeah, I mean, Peter Falk's wife, not Columbo's wife. Peter Falk.
Yeah, Peter Falk's wife.
Good on you, Peter Falk. I go to bed every night and wake up in the future. Not exciting, but better than the alternative. And Raimi agrees. Demolition Man's a good film.
Yes.
Simone says Gravity, because that's what I was asking. Can't beat a good Sandra. I don't know. I suppose it depends if you ask her. She might like that kind of thing. Simon, stop it. Question for Dave. What made you be Steve? Oh, good question.
Steve. To do the character, Steve.
Explain your character, yeah.
I don't know. I just, I started obviously the channel and doing the filming, but then I realized that sometimes it can get a bit repetitive working on cars, and not just for filming's sake, but for my own insanity. It can just kind of get a bit like, great, okay, doing another video. And I'd had for a long time of doing characters. I've actually got quite a few ideas with different characters. I mentioned to you on at Rustival, and I'd always liked Steve Irwin. I remember watching him growing up, and my dad hated him because he was so excitable and exuberant. So, and I've got a fascination with Australia and the fact that a lot of things in Australia, creatures just want to murder you and kill you and just make you be in pain. But yet there's folks out there that live over there and they actually do jobs with animals that want to kill you. And I'm like, wow, that's insane, but amazing. And I like the idea of Aussie Steve. I didn't want a little bit of, not so much of the hyperactiveness of Steve Irwin.
Yeah.
But also based a bit like on the shark in Finding Nemo, Bruce. So yeah, it just a bit. And also I find that with Steve, I feel like I can get away with a lot more, because generally I like anything engineering, anything that moves, anything like cars. I know I bash about the electric cars. They're not for me, but the engineering behind them is I think it's brilliant. And especially like, again, I'm not into supercars like some YouTubers are, and Ferraris and Lambos. It's not for me. I think they're posing pouches. But the engineering behind them, the fact that these cars can do 200 odd miles per hour and be perfectly just flat, and that just blows my mind. So I found that by creating the character Steve, I could be quite ruthless, in regards to whatever it is, because it's, even though it's a part of me, it's like kind of an extension that can be, say, oh, that car's crap, or oh, look, I mentioned on the film I did at Rustival, or Steve did, about J. Elm's cars. If it was just me being me, I'd be like, it's a very nice car, that's all right, it's red, nice, But being Steve, I can get away with going, oh, what a prick, and just kind of just being quite brutal and stuff like that. And and then if anyone comes at me, oh, you said bad things about my car, like Steve did,
It's a character. It's a character. Yeah, it's true. It's like when we're doing Norman and Ernest, there's no way I'd walk around making the same sort of smutty jokes.
That's it.
Not out loud, anyway.
Just under your breath, like.
Yeah. And yeah, I think the thing with us doing crankcases stuff is that I've noticed more recently, because when me and Rob first started doing the characters, we kind of did them more when I were at Rob's or he were at our house, and it was kind of like a very private. That sounds weird, a very private sort of thing. But since we've got used to doing them, we've done them at shows and that you kind of notice. I'm not having a wee, by the way. That's just me pouring a drink. You kind of notice in your peripheral vision, people sort of stop and they're paying attention to what's going on. And it's kind of like encourages you to carry on being just as silly even more, I think.
Oh, and,
yeah, you can definitely get people's buy-in without even trying. Now, if that were me, just being me, I'd be like, why is that guy staring at me? But if I'm doing Norman, which I've just slipped into his voice there, if I were doing Norman, it kind of makes sense that people are staring because there's some idiot in a workshop Kurt doing a funny voice, handing out stickers with bleeding crumpets on them. That kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I found when I was editing the video for Rustaful, when I had the camera turned to me and I was doing a bit of Steve, I was looking at the people's reactions as I'd walk past them. I'd say something and I'd see them turn and kind of like, what did he just say? And you'd hear some people laugh, you know, when I walked up and I said about, you know, I've seen some, I won't say it on the live stream because it's swearing, but not very nice about electric cars and new cars. Yeah. And at that point, you just started chuckling. And it made me start to laugh. So I had to kind of, just before you started laughing and just before I started laughing, I had to kind of cut the edit there just to kind of, you know. But it's other people's reactions that you hear in the background. And like you say, because you're a character, you don't really care what people think or whatever. Because to be fair, when I'm myself, I'm a little bit awkward sometimes, you know. I'm not that brave to go up to people and start talking to them. Unless it's something, you know, about their car, I just kind of have to, you know, pull up my big boy pants and go, well, they can either tell me to bugger off or they'll talk to me. And the majority of the time they talk to me. So that's good. I suppose, hopefully I have a friendly face, maybe.
Do you keep it in a jar? I keep saying that to about Juju. I keep singing this song that Juju's got a beautiful face. And she keeps it in a jar under her bed. Juju says, when we're talking about Gravity, she says, it could be my butt at the end, but that'd be a horror movie.
Yeah.
We use watercolours to paint our cars, says Gaz. My butt has been on TV, says Alex. That not me. My butt's not been on TV.
No, it's mine.
I was in an AA advert, just in the background, wheeling a wheel. It is. My mum shouts, Alex's arse. Maybe that's what AA stands for, really.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, look, here's Alex's arse again. One of her vans.
Well, we've been going for an hour and 47 minutes. Which is 47 minutes more than what we normally do these for.
I've smashed the record.
People are still joining. So Classic Wheels Wales, I'm sure I've not seen for a while, says even humans and you, Simon, tosser, which is his favourite thing to call people tosser. So, hey up, hope you're doing all right, and thank you for the compliment.
I instantly like that guy, the fact that he gives an insult, a compliment. Hey up, you're all right, tosser. Yeah.
Simone has a question for you. I think this might be one of them streams that keeps going because people might just add a question when you finish. Dave, what is the crappiest car
that I've owned? See that.
Tell us what the crappiest car you've owned, and then tell us what you think the crappiest car is altogether.
So that is a tricky one. Okay, so the crappiest. I'll go through. I'll have to think about the crappiest car I've owned because I've had quite a few. They've all, and some of them being bloody awful. I think I've pushed them into the back of my mind. I'll go with at first the crappiest car that I think that I've certainly worked on. There is a few. BMW 1 Series. Horrible car to work on. Plus, they like to snap.
Is that the original ones? Were they compacts ones?
Yes, the first BMW series, the coupe, the 3-door saloon, and all that. Horrible car to work on. If you want to do a timing chain, you have to take the engine out because the timing chain's at the back of the engine near the bulkhead. That's
nice.
So when you see one for sale and it's like, oh, it's got a bit of a rattle, 500 quid, and you think, oh, that's a bargain. Don't. You just bet you're just better off filling it full of petrol and throwing a match at it. Just because if you buy it and think that you can fix it on the cheap, no. So they're an awful car. that I.
Plus, it's not a 3 Series. I mean, that's the main fault with it. Why buy a 1 Series when you can get a 3 for the same money?
Exactly. You know, people would like to be a bit different, but yeah, save your money and buy a 3 Series if that's the thing that tickles your pickle, as it were.
Yeah, you could cut one of your arms off. That'd be a bit different, but it wouldn't be any better, would it?
Oh God, exactly. Another one is a Nissan Qashqai. I'm sorry. Again, this is first generation, not the facelift stuff. Nissan Qashqai, Nissan Duke, they are all horrible cars to work on. I've got some stories which we'll probably leave for another time of things I found working as a technician on horrible cars that people leave inside.
Is that the story you told me about?
Yes.
You should do a Dave's Memoirs series on YouTube.
Oh my God, yeah. Dave's time as a service technician in 6 years. But the thing is, every technician has got a car that they hate. You know, and it varies. But for me, it's not a particular single car that I've worked on that I've truly hated. It is unfortunately multiple, because they are just, they rust, they're hard to work on, and the engineering behind some of them, like the BMW 1 Series, most cars with their McPherson strut, where the bottom of the spring sits, it has a housing.
Yeah.
So typically, if a spring was to snap, like 2 coils up, it just drops down. On the BMW 1 Series, it has a tiny little perch, and the spring starts off really small and then it gets very big. If the spring snaps, say, 1 link up, it hasn't got that cup to save it. It will just go straight past that. The best scenario is that it snaps and you realize and you stop and you get it recovered. Worst case scenario, which has happened quite a few times and I've worked on them, the spring snaps, it will go down, it will spin round, it will take out your brake hose, and it will also jam the spring into the tire and pop your tire.
Which is what you want. It's exactly what you want, especially if it's a front spring.
Oh yeah, you know, especially when you're driving down the motorway down at 70 miles per hour, and it will just yeet you into the barrier. You know, but yeah, and the crappiest car I have ever owned. You know what? It's got to be an Isuzu Trooper, Generation 2 Isuzu Trooper.
Is that like a big 4-wheel drive Dewberry?
Yeah, it was a 94, so it was the facelift version, or second generation. It was a 3-door, 3.1 engine diesel, not that powerful, not that fast. Even though you think it's 4-wheel drive, it's not, because you have to put it into 4-wheel drive. So when you're driving along and it's a bit of a wet road, if you take a corner a bit fast, it will swap ends. And that car had only done about 70-odd thousand miles, had 2 owners from you, full service history. So it had every oil and change and everything that it needed when the manufacturers recommended. And I had it for 3 weeks and I didn't rag it that much, and the turbo blew. So then I spent about nearly £600 on a new turbo and other bits and pieces. For only about a week later for the engine to launch itself.
Brilliant.
So that got kicked down the road very quickly.
You don't hear about it, and you don't see many Isuzus around in the car circles, do you?
No.
Are they actually still going?
Yeah, they're still going strong, but they do sell over here. I think the latest one's either the Rodeo or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, it is. It's like a cheap alternative to, I wouldn't even say like a Toyota Hilux, because, you know, do you remember the company Tata? They currently own, I think, Jaguar Land Rover. Well, they brought out a 4x4 years ago, and people couldn't sell them because they were crap. They are like above that. Just, they're okay. They're cheap, but they're cheap for a reason.
Yeah. Isn't Tata? They own PG Tips, don't they?
I have no idea.
Yeah, there's loads of big stuff like that, and I think is it British Steel? I think they bought as well or something.
Yes,
they've got
because
fingers in loads of pies.
Yeah, because I know there's Tata Steel as well.
That's it. You could have renamed it. Nissan Puke, says Simone.
Yes.
I don't know. You see, I have this dilemma that I kind of like the Duke. Like a lot of people hate the styling. I kind of like it, and I like the fact there's a Nismo Duke as well.
See, that was the thing. Like the Duke is a multi-produced car for what I'd consider non-car people who think a car is edgy and cool and different, when underneath really it's just bits of Nissan and also Renault bolted together, because the diesel ones are Renault engines.
Oh, so it's even related to the Dacia or Dacia Duster then?
Yes.
Okay. See, I like it less now, but I'd still have a Nismo one.
Oh yeah, the Nismo one. It was an attempt to try and make the brand cool among car folks, because real car folks weren't buying them because they were amazingly fast, or they were just a thing to get from A to B, and that's it.
There is a model that's just as fast as the Nismo one. Is it like GDT X or something? So there is one that is as fast. It just doesn't say Nismo on it, and I like to bet the insurance is less on that one as well.
Oh yeah, because it doesn't say Nismo.
Yeah, it's got that Nismo badge. It's got to add at least two steps of insurance on it, surely.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It's like, I wonder what, like, because there's the Toyota Aygo GR Sport. I wonder how much that's affected the insurance on the normal Aygos, because there's a normal Aygo Sport that's not GR. I wonder if their insurance has gone up now.
I bet it would. Anything that, because you'll probably remember as well, back in the early 90s. Now, I wasn't driving back then, but I certainly remember that, you had the GTIs and your XR3Is and, your Vauxhall Astra GTEs, and they got nicked because they were sporty. So instantly the insurance went right up through the roof. And then they started changing names to make them sound less sporty. Peugeot did it with the 306. The top end version they did was called the S16, which doesn't sound really unassuming. It doesn't sound like GTI, something sporty. And it wasn't until they did the phase 2, they changed it to GTI 6. So there was a lot of badge engineering to make things kind of sound better. But yeah, if it's got sport in it, then the chances are of it actually being sporty is probably very low.
It's like the coupes that are 2+2 rather than just being 2-seater. And it's like, they're not seats. You can't lie and tell people they're seats. You've got this much leg room. Unless you're carrying around people literally without legs, they're not seats.
See, that's the funny thing. The Peugeot, the CTI, I've had adults, fully grown adults, in the back with the seat, and they can sit in there. They've not had to chop the legs off, or they've not sat to sit sideways awkwardly. They can sit in there properly like a proper car, and that's a small car. And yet these 2+2s, they're huge, but yet tiny little gap for your backseat passengers.
Yeah, I think Lotus started it because I think, which one was it? I think it was the XL my dad had. That had got really sort of luxurious seats in back. They were so sculpted. They were like jet fighter seats. But you couldn't sit in comfortably for more than 5 minutes because your legs used to cramp up because you literally could not move your legs. They were horrible things. Awful. I love Lotus, but come on, people, wake up. I saw a Lotus SUV today.
Oh.
It did make me feel a little bit ill.
Did it?
The worst thing about it is I didn't notice it was a Lotus, and I'd been stood behind it. I'd walked past it about 3 times, and it weren't until I saw the badge on the front that I noticed it were a Lotus. How crap is that?
Yeah.
That is bad. We've got things like Porsche, Lotus, Alfa Romeo, all making SUVs, And
Aston Martin as well.
Aston Martin as well. And they're all brands that should not be doing that. It's like, to me, they're the brands that should be dictating what their customers buy, not being dictated by markets. Like, oh, everybody's buying SUVs, we need to make one. How damaging is that to Lotus's brand to be seen making an SUV?
Well, yeah, because they're a sports car manufacturer, that, and it's a bit like with Ferrari. They brought out an SUV. Lamborghini have, they've got an SUV. And like years ago, when people, when SUVs started to get popular, they'll quite famously said, no, we're not going to do that. We don't comply to the market and demands. We make Ferraris, we make driving machines. But then they realized that actually we can make a lot of money if we make something that actually is, an SUV. And
I'm very disappointed with the way the car community is going for stuff like that. I'm disappointed that anybody that would like Lamborghini, you think about Lamborghini, you think about the Countach, obviously. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
Oh, yeah.
Then the Diablo. And then that Reventon thing that had the mad rear lights on it and stuff. The last thing in my mind is a bloody SUV.
Yeah. But it's panning to the people that seem to get it an idea they need an SUV in their life. So, and the fact that it needs to be 500-600 horsepower, it's like you're never going to use it. You're just going to trundle to the shops, trundle to get your hair done, drop off your nuclear kids that have probably got more fake tan on than you have, and then pick them up and to show off. I just don't, I just don't see the point of them. No,
I agree with that. I think we should destroy them all.
Definitely. Yes.
In fact, we should make stickers that say something very nasty and just stick them on.
Yes. SUVs are driven by dummies, something like that. Or performance SUVs are just stupid. Yeah.
I bought this SUV because my penis is very small.
Yes. I bought this Ferrari SUV because I'm 52 years old, divorced, but there is a 23-year-old female I'm very interested in.
My other transport is a Harley.
Yeah,
that might upset people. Modern cars are so annoying, says Retro Matt. I have moved the power steering reservoir on my A6 to change a headlight bulb. Far easier to work on my Yugo. Yugo. I mean, I'm completely ignoring everything else apart from the Yugo in that state. I'd love to get a Skoda or a Yugo, particularly a Skoda. Lower it, fat wheels on it, strip insides out. I'm not even bothered about giving it more power, just as long as it sounds like it's got more power, and drive that around. I would keep that.
Yes, definitely.
I would keep.
Yeah.
But even Skodas are getting expensive.
Yeah, Skodas, and the fact is that everything now is you can't, on a lot of cars now, you have to take stuff off to change a bulb. There is some manufacturers like Ford on the Ford Focuses and Mondeos. You didn't have to take off a cover at the back and squeeze your hands in behind the slam panel. It was two little tabs that you pulled out and the whole headlight came out. It was a very simple, it was a thought through process to make, not just if anyone wanted to change a light bulb themselves, but it made technicians' jobs a lot easier. But nowadays, everything is very complicated. It takes time. Modern cars are very annoying.
Modern cars are rubbish.
Yes.
Except they're quick and comfortable and quiet and quite easy to get on with.
Nah.
Apart from that, they're terrible. Gaz says, is Picasso threw its spring into the tyre? Luckily, as he set off for work, and that was a pig asso to sort.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good job when you were setting off for work, Gaz, not when you were coming home from work, to be honest. Simon Easton had a Citroen C8. C8 is that like a huge one?
So that's like a people carrier.
Oh God! Where the spring snapped and went into this. My dad had a Picasso, a C4 Picasso, I think it were. They did do a C4, didn't they?
Yeah,
and that was so nice. It had got blinds in the back doors that you could pull up over the windows from the inside. It had got air vents in the B pillows in front of the back door, so you could direct air where you wanted it. What else did it add? It had a tinted out rear window. It got loads of cool stuff in it. It was basically what you'd expect the Citroen DS to be. So it must have been when they were doing the sat in a boardroom going, why are we selling these as Citroens when we should be selling them as DS?
Yeah.
Just literally, I know, or mood lighting inside. Glowing things around the thing. That were really nice, that. But it had the terrible automatic gearbox on it. Have you ever driven one of the auto Citroen gearboxes? Horrible thing. It's all right when you're moving, but as soon as you get to a junction, it's like the gearbox sits there and goes, what's my job again? Change gear first. What, first when you're doing 5 miles an hour? Oh, all right then. And it just jerks around all over the place. Horrible thing.
Yeah, the gearbox of despair on them.
He's gone through this phase of having automatics. He's at the moment got a C-Max that's an automatic. And again, that it's just all automatic gearboxes of that type, because they're not fluid automatics. The dry clutch, like automated clutch, basically automatic. Yeah. And that does the same thing. You'll get to a roundabout, it'll be in second, it'll crawl up to roundabout, trying to preempt the gearbox so it stays in second. Yeah. And then as soon as he goes to set off, it goes, oh, you want first then? And it just kicks you in back. That's horrible.
See, that's where Volkswagen went very well when they developed the DSG gearbox, the twin paddle. And that automatically knew, so that when you were going up the gears, the next clutch was ready. So the gear change was instantaneous. And then when you change down, same kind of thing. Yeah. That is, I'm not a fan of automatic gearbox. I like to roam my gears, but the DSG is actually a pretty clever bit of tech. Yeah.
Ask Matt about the DSG gearbox.
Okay.
That's all I'll say. Matt's life could have been so different if the DSG gearbox didn't exist.
Oh, right.
Alex says, I always wanted a big horn.
Who are?
Yeah.
I know what she I know. I know what she means with they did a bighorn version of the Trooper.
Oh, okay.
They even did a Lotus edition as well.
Really?
Yeah, they did a Isuzu Trooper tuned by Lotus. They're all silver and green, different wheels that were polished. They're all autos. But yeah, again, that was a badging exercise. They maybe tweaked with it. They might have just looked at it and gone, yeah, we've done something to it. You can put some badges on it now. It's been to the Lotus factory. We've fettled with it. We sat in it.
Is Isuzu related to Proton at all?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they're a separate company.
Owned Lotus, didn't they, for a while?
Yes, they did. Yeah.
Interesting. And then this is a comment from Matt. He's on about when we're on about tartar and steel, and he's like, and they own tartar sauce. Oh, Matt, you are a card. Simone says Rolls Royce made an SUV. They did.
Yeah, and Bentley as well.
And Bentley. Me and Judge saw a Rolls Royce SUV the other day. And when we were driving up to it, I was like, why is that Range Rover got weird badges on it? And it went until I got close to it. Then I noticed it said Rolls Royce. And I was like, well, that's weird. And then I had that massive rant that I've just done about prestige cars doing SUVs to Judge. And she were like, switched off. I don't think she really cared, to be honest. But then we passed a Range Rover, and I was like, look, I'd rather have that Range Rover than that Rolls Royce. And that to me is the killer blow. If you'd rather have something that's worth less than the expensive version, surely the expensive version's missed its mark somewhat.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Rubbish.
It was like the I think it was the Grand Tour. It was like the Grand Tour, or when they were doing Top Gear, they took out 3 vehicles, and I think James picked a Rolls Royce Cullinan or whatever it's called, and it turned out the options in that particular Rolls Royce or Bentley, Bentley, was the equal parts of what the cost of Hammond's entire car was in just in options. It was like, what? And even Clarkson was like, it's not worth it. It just, madness.
That's when you know you're paying for a badge rather than the car.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I reckon the more money you've got, the less a car person you are.
Yeah.
Unless your garage is full of shit boxes, which is the common phrase that everybody uses.
That's it. But, there's different levels of shit boxes. And, if I did have, I've always said that if I had £20,000, say, from a lottery, I wouldn't go out and buy one car. I would buy multiple cars, all that probably cost less than £1,000, because then I get more enjoyment, of trying to fix it and do whatever.
I'd be so tempted though to buy a GTR. I think a GTR is my goal. A GTR and something that's got a Lotus badge on it. I don't know whether I could get any of them out of a 20 grand lottery. I could probably get one of them Elans, them front wheel drive Elans, but that's probably about it. Like a really good one.
Yeah, you might be able to get an Elat or something like that.
Yeah. Or I could get loads of non-Lotus cars and just stick Lotus badges.
Why not? Why not?
I've already started that trend.
So that's it, exactly. Yeah. Oh, I never knew Lotus did a Rover 200. No. And here it is. Love it. Love it.
Mr. Classic Wheels Wales, Mike says, Mr. Crap Car Hunter, love your work. And Simon, I'm trying to love yours. Thank you, Mike. On a serious note, been to Greece, really crap car hunting. A couple of old BMWs and a Mark II transit van heading to the UK. See, I'm envious of stuff like that. I wish I had, I was going to say enough savings, but I wish I had savings that enabled me to look at importing stuff.
Same here.
Retro Matt, modern cars are so annoying. Oh, hang on, we've already done that one. Why am I clicking on it again? Let's see what else we've got. Lambo are tractor manufacturers, so just about justify it. That is true. They did start making tractors, didn't they, Lamborghini?
Yep, started making tractors, and old, what I'd call the OG of Lamborghini, Mr. Lamborghini himself. I do believe that he owned a certain Ferrari, and it kept burning through clutches every so many thousand miles. So he went back to Ferrari and said, in no uncertain terms, "Oi, fix this. It's a pile of crap." And he turned around and went, "Well, if you think you can do better, go ahead." So he got his tractor guys to go, "You know what? Could you chuck a clutch in this? Like manufacture a clutch? Yeah, we can do that." And then it went on from there. It's like, oh, we might as well have a go at building our own car. And I think it was I'm probably wrong about this. It was the Lamborghini 3500 GT. A very pretty looking car in my eyes, anyway. I know some people say, "Oh, that's horrible. I'd rather have a Ferrari," but I kind of like that looking car, like the Miura as well. I do like that.
Yeah. Here's a question for you, and it's completely just going against what we've said about Ferrari. But let's run with it. If you were to have a Ferrari, like literally somebody came along and they'd got your knackers in a vice and they said, "Unless you tell us what colour Ferrari you'd have, we're going to squeeze this vice." What colour would you pick?
It would be that kind of beautiful blue.
A blue Ferrari.
A blue Ferrari. I wouldn't go for a red. And if the question was to go, if I had to pick a Ferrari, any, it'd be it'd be the. Is it the? I can't remember if it's the 275 or 3. I think it's the 375 GTB Daytona. It's known as the Daytona. Yeah.
Is that the one that looks a bit like a Testarossa?
It's the one that the Rover SD1 was kind of.
Yes, I know what you want. I know what you mean. Now, I'm going to answer the question myself because basically that's the only reason why I asked you the question is so I could answer it myself. If I was to have a Ferrari, it would be an F40 or an F50. I'm not too fussed which one. I'd rather a 40, but it'd have to be yellow because that's the traditional Ferrari colour. Because red is the Italian racing colour, isn't it? That's why they have them all red. Yellow was the actual colour of Ferraris, so that's what I'd have.
Yeah,
but blue's an interesting. I've never heard anybody say blue before.
Blue, yeah. Hammond actually, funny enough, referring back to Hammond, he did a test drive on Top Gear where he was racing. I can't remember what it was, but he was driving a Ferrari. I think it was the 375 GTB Daytona, and that was blue with the Y wheels, but they were like polished chrome, and the thing just looks gorgeous. It's probably one of the only Ferraris I would quite happily, if I had the money, it's the only Ferrari I would quite happily buy. Anything else I'm not interested in Ferraris really, but that thing is just, to me, it's just gorgeous.
There was one of those. Again, this seems to be the evening of Columbo facts. There was a Columbo episode where a young woman, her brother gets murdered by herself. She murders a brother. That's an easier way of saying it. And she inherits a company. And one of the things she does, she buys this Ferrari, and it is a blue Ferrari, exactly the same as what you've been talking about. I think that Top Gear episode is the one, isn't it? James May that's in a speedboat that costs so many millions and it's banging on waves, isn't it? And sea can't cope with it.
That was it, yeah. The boat that cost so many thousand, it got like a carbon fiber toilet or something like that that cost
and then it breaks down.
That's it, yeah.
Poor James May. That leads me on to another question, but I'm not going to ask it because we'd be here for more hours. Retro Matt says, I might well do that with my Felicia. Is that how you pronounce that? Felicia? I assume he's talking about his Skoda, not some after hours. After the charity challenge later this month, not just stripping out, but I can still get the Group N rally stickers. See, this is what I want. I want either a rally car or a touring car sort of mock-up thing.
Yes.
The rally car one, I saw somebody had done a Mark 1 Ford Focus a while ago, and it looked really nice from the outside, but they've not done anything on the inside, which just ruins it.
The thing is, I can understand why some people keep the full interior in them, because I've had a car that I stripped the interior out, no carpet. All it was 2 seats, a steering wheel, some pedals, and a dash. That was it. And that thing was so loud, uncomfortable, and noisy. The first couple of times I drove, I thought, "Oh, this is brilliant! The noise experience. I feel like I'm on the RAC rally. This is brilliant." And then it gets old very quickly to the point where you're wearing headphones in the car because you haven't got any stereo because you took that out, and the speakers, all you got is the sound of the exhaust and the engine. And yeah, you end up putting earplugs in or something, and you get to work and you're already you're already unhappy before you're doing your work. So yeah, and then you come out of work and then you think, oh, work wasn't too bad. Oh, had a pretty good day. Oh, I've got to drive home now in that.
You see, I was just going to say to you, but you've kind of changed the tact a bit. I was going to say, you're not a motorbike rider. So everything that you just said then about it being noisy and you can hear the exhaust, that is just basically riding a motorbike. But the traveling to work, I don't think I'd commute on my bike. if I had to go anywhere at any speed for any amount of time, I don't think I'd commute on it to work because I would probably have a headache by the time I got there.
You'd just be praying for either the weather to just suddenly rain, so you'd end up falling off the bike, or just driving into the back of a lorry just to end your suffering. You know.
Simone says mood lighting in cars is freaking stupid.
Yes, it's like having a discotheque inside. Pointless. It's a gimmick.
Maybe I should put a disco ball in the ZS when I do it up.
That'd be cool. That'd be funny.
That would be cool. Matt pokes in with his little Skoda Superb DSG gearbox, $3,500 to repair it. So he just swapped his Superb for the Streetwise, and hence Matt became part of the Rover community, and he has hope Streetwise.
Ah.
So there you go. That's his little story.
Okay, I like that. Yeah. That is the problem with the DSG gearbox. When they go wrong, they are very expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they don't go wrong that often, as far as I'm aware.
No.
And Mike has sent me £5. He says, I'll be off. Nice humans, Simon. Dave, great chat. Thank you very much, Mike. You are a gent and a squire. And Mike also had or has quite a collection of cars. I don't know whether you know who Mike is.
I might have met him. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not great with names. What cars has he got?
Well, I can't tell you what all cars he's got, but he has quite a collection that he lends out to various TV production companies.
Okay. Oh, wow.
So the chances are you have seen one of his cars on TV, even if it's just been in the background, not necessarily a main car. But yeah, he has quite a collection. I think he had a Marina last time I was speaking to him that he rented out quite a bit.
Oh, wow.
Simone asks a question: is TC a shitbox considering the rust issue? I don't know.
Well, it's a Ford, so so I'm trying to think of a way to say this without digging myself into a hole. So Fords are unfortunately what I would call natural progression of dissolvability. Even Fords built today.
Dissolvability. The Disperol of the car world.
Yes, essentially, yeah. But the thing is, even, I know a lot of people moaned about the car, especially like the Capris and Cortinas, go, oh, they're rock boxes. But the thing is, nothing's changed. I've seen 5-6 year old Ford Focuses, not Escorts, Fiestas, and they're just as rotten. Nothing has really changed for Ford. I don't think TC would be classed as a shitbox. Really, thinking about it. Yes, even though it's rusty, but it's not like you're just leaving it to just rot. The fact that Simone's doing work to it, she's doing a welding course, which is amazing, which is going to save her a lot of money in the future in order to be able to do repairs.
Or is it though, Dave? Is it though? Because my way of thinking about it is, Simone does a welding course. Like, if I did a welding course and all of a sudden I could weld, how many crap cars am I going to buy that need welding? And I'm not going to say no because it needs welding. I'm going to say yes because it needs welding. But
then, through experience, you soon get very bored of welding cars up. I love welding. I love the thought process behind it, working out what pieces of metal I need to bend and make and joining it or sticking it together. But when you've done quite a few sills and floor pans and rear arches, sometimes you just think, do I need to buy this car? How rusty is it? Very rusty. Okay, I'm not going to bother. Moving on, kind of thing, Yeah,
I can see that side of it. Carl has turned up and he says, I'm late to the party. I mean, it's all right, Carl. What time did he join? 20 past 10. So you're only 2 hours, 20 minutes late.
Better late than never.
Oh, but that's fine, Carl, because Adam joined 1 minute later than you. Oh no, that was Matt. I just assumed. Oh, he's here. There we go. Adam joined at the same time. He says, "Good evening, everybody."
Nice.
Honestly. And then Alex says, "How much rust?"
All of it. That was actually taken from when I did a video on the Clio, which is now gone. That was because that was horrifically patched, where there was a lot of filler and what I call patch over patch. So I just happened to be just bashing the sill with a screwdriver, and it was just raining rust. And I found chunks, and I happened to do it in a clip, and I went, "How much rust? All of it." And then I heard it back, and I thought, you know what, that sounds pretty good. So yeah,
it is a good intro thing. I often think, because I don't know whether you've watched any of my earlier videos, but I used to have a good 30-second clip that were like arty shots from outside the MGTF driving down the road. So there were like a rear bumper one, and then a bonnet one, and then a driver's door one, and then one from the rear quarter panel looking backwards, and then they were the same but on the bike in a different place. And when I did it, I thought, oh, you know what, that's 30 seconds of really good video. It's really cool, that. But then I started thinking, hang on, that means every time somebody watches one of my videos, there's at least 30 seconds of bollocks that they don't need to watch. so I'll cut it down. So yeah, it's an interesting thing, the YouTube intro thing. Some channels don't have them at all. Some channels have flashy ones with sponsors on them. I'm just waiting for the sponsor bit. If there's a sponsor, I don't care how long the intro is then.
Oh god, yeah, that's it, because you know, you're getting a bit of money. I actually took inspiration to do that. Apart from the, you know, how much rust, all of it. The car revving and my ex-partner, she did the actual graphics of the Peugeot, bless her. She's amazing on doing computer stuff like that. It was a bit of an inspiration from an American YouTuber called Junkyard Diggs, who I watch. Guy's called Kevin, and his partner is called Mook. And yeah, and all is it just comes up, his logo, it's dark, and it comes up in white, and you just hear the sound of a V8 revving, and that's it, you know. So I kind of took inspiration from that.
It don't really work with my channel if I just rev my ZS. People are like, "Oh, what's this dynamic logo?" And then they'd hear a tack saying, they'd be like,
"Why is there a black cab revving?"
Well, I think that seems an apt time to end there. Nearly 2.5 hours,
yes.
Dave. How's your stamina going?
Good. Actually, it's helped me a lot, because I've not had a cigarette in 2.5 hours. So
you'll be gagging. You'll be gagging.
You know what? I've not been too bad, actually. You know, I've had a nice chat. I've been supping some Thatcher's cider, not sponsored by him, but if Thatcher's happen to see this and want to send me some, please do. I would not say no.
Right. Well, what we'll do is we'll call it a night there. I'm going to kick you, boof, like that, straight, bang, like a penalty kick from 1996 World Cup into green room. And then I'm going to play the chicken nugget video, so you'll be able to watch that. And then I'll chat to you when I've stopped the live stream. So I shall see you in a bit, Dave.
No worries.
Bye.
Ta-da! Bye.
And for all you weirdos that are still watching, here's the chicken nugget video again. If I can remember how to start it, hang on, bear with me. Here we go. Oh, I forgot how much of a classic video this is. So let's screen share. Find the right window. It'll be this one. Get ready to enjoy this masterpiece, people. Hope you can hear it.
There's no chicken here today. Got a little chicken. Hey, there's no chicken here today. Got a little chicken. What was that? What was that? What was that? What was that? Hey, there's no chicken here. What chicken? No chicken. Hey, there's no chicken here. What chicken? No chicken. Chicken logo. One chicken. One chicken. One chicken nugget. Chicken nugget.
This is like a weird dream.
Today. No chicken. Hey, there's no chicken here today. No chicken. One chicken nugget. Chicken nugget. One chicken. Hey, there's no chicken here today. No chicken. Hey, there's no chicken here today. No chicken nugget.
Honestly, what is going on? So thank you everybody for joining. Don't forget to click like, subscribe, leave a comment, share with your friends, share with your enemies. Probably also after that video, share with your local psychologist just to analyze what you've just seen. And yes, hope you enjoyed that, and thank you for joining. And yes, that's fine. Usually they can only hear my mic. That's okay. And yes, I shall see you on Monday for another normal Quizzy Live. Goodbye.